So we're here today conducting captures for our John Day River Bighorn Sheep project in collaboration with University of Idaho. We're trying to get 40 ewes collared today. This is the second capture of a 2-year study. Yeah, so with this study, we're looking at a couple different things. One of the main things being diet and nutrition. We're also hoping to try to quantify the nutritional landscape throughout the canyon. We do have a lot of fires and things changing here with climate change, hoping to get a better understanding of what types of habitats these sheep are keying in on. If it is nutrition or food, we can help plant the right things after those fires come through and rehab it a little bit faster.
3, 2, 1.
Gonna get into the hangar there, so we're in front a little bit late.
Another one. We're gonna do the same thing.
No worries. We're set up top and ready for 2 when you get them.
Okay, sounds good.
So this sheep population is a unique one in that it's a thriving, healthy population. So a big reason we're studying this particular population is to try and understand the different factors that contribute to why it's so healthy and learn if we can maybe apply those qualities to other populations that may be struggling with disease or just population numbers in general. So that's kind of why we're targeting the John Day herd is because they're doing so well. We have a group of 4-H kids here today, and just an opportunity for them to get exposed to what a state wildlife agency does, which I think is a really cool opportunity to get young kids interested in wildlife. Yeah, so we have 2 teams on either side of the river just to help release sheep exactly at the side of the river that they came from. They can cross the river, but it's usually not until late in the summer when the river is low enough that they can go back and forth. And so we really try and limit their effort that they'll have to put in after capture, that they can just go right back to the spot that they were hanging out in. Yeah, the helicopter will bring in a sheep, and first thing that we want to do is just look it over for any injuries that might have occurred while it was being captured, and then take a temperature. So a common thing to look out for when capturing sheep is that they tend to get hot. So monitoring their temperature regularly throughout processing the animal is really important to make sure that their stress levels aren't getting too high that we'll have to mitigate temperature or their stress level. And then once we take care of that, then we'll start processing the animal, which includes taking samples such as DNA punch and blood and nasal swabs to screen for disease, and then finally fitting the animal with their GPS collar.
So there's actually a significant gap in knowledge about what bighorn sheep eat. We don't have a ton of information on it. A lot of our results are derived from things like moose and elk and deer. So Emily and I's project actually is going to get at that a little bit better, so we have better estimates on what our sheep are selecting for within the canyon, which is super important. Knowing their nutrition and what they're selecting for helps determine their overall health and well-being, which could be a big factor in why this population has been so successful throughout the years. It's kind of comparable to if your parents tell you to eat your veggies to grow up, be big and strong. The same thing with our sheep. This canyon could have a lot of high quality forage, and we're trying to determine if that's the case, and it could be substantial when being applied to other populations as well. We can give the agencies models to help them, especially with the sampling that I'm doing, the vegetation sampling. The whole goal with our vegetation sampling, since it's not the first project to do this type of sampling, we want to be able to create a predictive model so that way when we give it to agencies like ODFW or the BLM and they go out to do vegetation surveys in the future, they don't have to sample as much as we're sampling now, and they should be able to get a faster idea of what the nutrient quality on their landscape is and determine kind of the habitat type that they have and if it's sustainable for sheep populations or other populations in general as well.
It's a really unique population here in the John Day, in that it's one of the few populations of bighorn sheep in the West that's disease-free. And so we're using this as an opportunity to understand, sort of try to get a better understanding of how bottom-up processes, so food-based processes, influence performance of a population like this in the absence of disease. Collaborative projects like this between the agency and the university are designed to be mutually beneficial. That's the goal, right? So we help to sort of increase the research capacity of the agency. They've got a lot of challenges that they face, a lot of questions that they need to have answered to do a good job of managing the resource that they're responsible for. But they don't always have the personnel, the expertise, the capacity in general to address all of those questions across the board. And so we get the privilege of collaborating with agencies like ODFW to provide that kind of support. You know, we're hoping to learn from this project in particular a little bit more about relationships between bighorn sheep and forage resources. There have been a huge amount of emphasis over the years on understanding the degree to which, and that's the sort of nuances of how disease limits bighorn sheep populations, and rightly so. It's pneumonia is the #1 cause of mortality in bighorn sheep. But we do have other situations like here in the John Day where disease isn't a factor, and so it's useful, hopefully, to understand what are the factors that limit populations like this in the absence of disease.